Hey everybody, welcome back to the Active Query Builder tutorial series. In this video, we'll learn how to group data and calculate sums in SQL databases. And so you can see it in action, we'll work with the well-known Northwind database that has products and shipments to countries around the world, and we'll use Active Query Builder to visualize data and create a correct query. Today's task will be to find the countries that receive the most goods. And constructing the query will take 2 steps. First, we'll select the data to work with, as we did in the previous video, then apply grouping, and set aggregate formulas and criteria for getting the result. Okay, first let's go ahead and bring up the orders table since it stores the information about the countries to which the packages were shipped, and we can see it here in the Ship Country field. Alright, now open the Order Details table by clicking the link button next to Order ID, and note that it's a primary key and it's linked with a specific table. This Order Details table contains numeric values such as unit price, quantity, discount, and the product ID primary key. Now click on this link to bring up the Products table, and this table stores the product name and other properties. Plus, you can freely arrange tables by dragging them around. Okay, now let's select the columns that we'll need to create summary reports. Check these fields across 3 tables: Ship Country, Unit Price, Quantity, and Product Name. You can see these fields appear in the table below, which will be used for grouping, sorting, and filtering. By the way, you can switch from the SQL Query tab to Data at the bottom to preview the result of our request. And you can drag and drop the rows here to change the order of query columns below. Now, to avoid possible confusion, let me clear something up. By query columns, I mean the columns of the data preview below that displays the query results. However, in this grid, each query column is represented by a row that contains instructions on how to organize and limit data. Now, what we see here is unique records for chai tea shipments to various countries. The result includes all the other products as well, so let's leave only chai shipments. Now, in the criteria for the product name, type equals chai. Strings are quoted automatically. The result data you can see includes all cases of chai shipments to all countries. Now let's figure out the total number of items and the average price of shipments to each country and to the United States in particular. Now we need to calculate some functions across the rows where all the ship country values are the same. Mark the grouping box for ship country. Note that Active Query Builder has automatically checked all these checkboxes for all selected fields. But the updated preview table still shows multiple chai shipments to each country, and that's happening because we haven't specified any functions yet. So let's set an aggregate function for the price, select average, and then, for quantity, select sum. Voila! Now we can see the combined results of the chai shipment to each country. The average chai price for the US is about 17, and the total unit quantity of chai delivered to the US is 180. By the way, the aggregate function creates new query columns, so the names average unit price and sum quantity were assigned automatically, but you can change them to whatever you want in the future. Alright, now let's switch to the SQL tab to briefly review the query text. The select statement includes the objects that were selected from the linked forms at the top, and these are the calculated objects with the respective aliases. Unit price and quantity here are source or raw data, and these are the formulas to process it. Inner join intersects different tables. Criterion is in the where clause, and group by specifies which fields are used for grouping. Now let's talk a bit about how grouping works in SQL, and why Active Query Builder doesn't let you set some combinations of the grouping, aggregate, and visibility options for a single row. So let's go ahead and remove the criteria for chai to see all grouping results. Okay, when a query doesn't have any grouping, it's more like browsing the source data. Each row in the query result shows unique database records of the objects we've selected. We're free to include any other field in our query, and now we've got an extra column to the right, and it doesn't affect the rest of the result. In other words, it doesn't change the number of output rows. Now on the other hand, a query with grouping is like asking the question, what'll be the sum or other aggregate function of the items from the grouped fields. Each row in the result is a unique combination of the grouped columns along with the aggregate calculations. Oh yeah, by the way, let's uncheck the discount column for now. In our case, it's all unique combinations of product names and ship countries. But if we add the discount back, it'll break up each of the combined rows into multiple rows where the discount values are unique. Then if we apply an aggregate function to it, for example max, it'll collapse all the grouped results again with unique product and country pairs. Therefore, you can either group or calculate a value upon a field. It doesn't make sense if you do both at the same time. And you also can't add a column without either grouping or aggregation. If you do that, you'll get an error or a misleading query result. Now the good thing is, Active Query Builder protects you from possible errors and ambiguities by automatically unticking the grouping box when you select an aggregate function. The same goes for unchecking both grouping and aggregate for a single field. The software will uncheck visibility here for you, which in turn removes it from the select list in SQL, and here up top. This way you'll never get server errors or, even worse, misleading results. In this tutorial, we've learned how grouping works in SQL and how Active Query Builder helps you avoid common pitfalls when building queries that include groups and calculated fields. In the next tutorial, we'll delve deeper into calculated columns and filtering. That'll show you how to solve analytical tasks and to get specific data insights. Thanks for watching and keep up the good work. See you in a bit.